Meanwhile, in San Francisco, police have arrested at least a dozen anti-corporate protesters. The arrest came after the demonstrators chained themselves to the entrances of Wells Fargo Bank's corporate headquarters and a nearby Bank of America branch. The protesters continued to block the Wells Fargo building, and dozens remained in front of the Bank of America branch despite the arrests. The demonstrators were attempting to disrupt business in the city's financial district. This is part of the Occupy Wall Street related demonstrations around the country demand that banks and evictions and foreclosures. Well, joining us now to discuss this further via Skype from Oakland is an Occupy protester, Aram Nathan Sohigian. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV. Now, first of all, walk us through the importance of bringing attention this way to the role of corporations in American politics.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, Homa, first of all, and thank you for Press TV. The importance of it is that with Citizens United, basically, corporations, as you said, can spend as much money as they want, and they can basically control elections. And we've been seeing that, especially with the Democrats and the Republican Party, but especially the Republicans lately, just how absolutely they have control over the election, and they control the media. And so this was basically tomorrow will be the 2-year anniversary of it. And what we're trying to do is to get, the lobbyists and Congress to change this, because it's absolutely corrupting the system, and it makes it so that the elections are basically a fraud at this point, because the corporations have personhood, which is absurd, and it allows them to spend as much as they want, to control whatever they want, and basically takes all of the democracy away from American citizens and leaves us totally stuck to do what the corporations want, which, as we've seen, is basically create war. And you look at what we're doing with Iran and Libya right now, we're starting to start other wars because the corporations, which run the elections, also run the media and are pushing for that. And so this is an unbelievably important maneuver, and unbelievably important for people to be out there doing this. And like you said, I think there was actually 18 people arrested at the Wells Fargo, and people were chaining themselves to the door. They are out there. There's a lot of people still out there right now protesting. I was looking on the Occupy SF live stream, and it looks like there's probably 500 to 1,000 people out there, which in this weather is actually quite good. So.
Indeed. Now, by holding federal courts responsible for the power and influence of corporations, what does the Occupy movement hope to achieve this way?
Great question. Hoping that people, first of all, will wake up, and we're also hoping that we'll put pressure on the Democrats and Republicans when they run for presidency and for Congress this year to have to take a stand, just like with SOPA and the bill with that, where Congress decided to pull it off because so many people started protesting, so many people started speaking out against it. The more that we keep pressuring and the more that we keep showing up at courthouses, the more that we keep showing up even in horrible weather, the more power and the more sort of tipping point that we're going to hit with the protest, where more of, like what happened in Oakland a couple months ago, the average person will show up and they'll be sick of it and they'll see that this doesn't work. And the more the courts will be forced to start actually paying attention to us and not paying attention to the lobbyists and the Congress people and the president who puts them in there, who then does their bidding, which isn't actually our bidding anymore.
Right, and very quickly, if you can, there is no doubt that the movement has been momentous in as far as raising awareness goes. But other than arrests and evictions, it hasn't drawn much reaction from the movers and shakers of policy, now has it?
Correct. There's still, I think most of them, including Obama, including, anyone that Gingrich, Romney, all those guys, they're afraid of us. All they do is try and put us down and say that we're not important, that we're not actually doing anything. And yet, if you look at what's starting to happen with the change into MoveYourMoney.org, which, of course, brought people into credit unions, and people are starting to move out of larger banks, slowly but surely, I think the state of New Mexico voted to actually move all their money out of big banks and into credit unions in New Mexico, which is, it's 3 million people. That's a big deal. And so it is starting to make a change. The mainstream media, which of course is owned by most of these corporations, they want to keep saying that we haven't done anything, that what we're doing is minimal at best, because if they actually give us the press that we're due and we get the information out there, they're going to lose their power, and that terrifies them. And so they can keep saying that, and yet on Facebook, on Twitter, on Huffington Post, all these other ones, It's coming through. Al Jazeera, you guys, it's coming through, and people are starting to see that this actually is making a difference, and it's getting people very excited, even in the middle of winter.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. That was the Occupy protester Aram Nathan Sohigian joining us there on the line via Skype from Oakland. Many thanks for your insights here on Press TV.